Alright, so the last video, I didn't expect it to even, like, really get a whole lot of comments when I usually do these. But 100% I enjoyed it last time, and I'm going through all the comments, trying to see what people are recommending next. So this is why I'm reacting to this one next, is because this one is apparently the one that will get me not caught up, but like at least know what's going on in the future ones that I do react to or whenever I play the game. Apparently this one will let me know about what's going on in this story, because the last one, like, it was cool, but I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea who any of these characters were, whatever. And last time people also reminded me to put on captions. The next one that people wanted me to react to the most after that was Final Lesson. I'm not sure what that one's about, but that'll probably be the next one that I react to. But yeah, let's get right into it. This one's longer than the last one too. I'm pretty sure the last one was only like a minute.
Welcome to the Honkai Operations Center.
Okay, so as its own little
where the Valkyries came from?
Captions.
What are they fighting for? And what exactly does Honkai mean?
Oh, that's not what I pressed.
We will be diving into the history and worldview of Honkai Impact throughout this series. Today is a basic introduction to the prequel of the entire story. Throughout history, the struggle between mankind and nature has never ceased. The Honkai-verse is based on a parallel universe that reiterates this conflict, humanity's struggle against the Honkai. But what is the Honkai? We don't know exactly where it's from, but it's a force of chaos that existed from the beginning of time. It wants to destroy human civilization, and when human technology advances, it grows stronger. Honkai have tried to destroy us through creating supernatural disasters.
That's one thing I'll give this. These videos, this already has more story development than Genshin has always had. That's why I've never... Anyone that asks me, should I play Genshin because I want a story game? Absolutely not. They have a story, but when people say that they have a good story that has a lot of development, things like that, no. I would never recommend anyone playing Genshin for story. This is why I'm more intrigued to play this one than I was when I first started playing Genshin, because I got into Genshin thinking, oh yeah, this is a cool, free, I guess, story game to play. But I ended up staying and making videos on it and liking it because of the elemental reaction side of things. And I'm still free to play to this day, somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, 100%, I'm definitely more intrigued for this because of this story than anything else.
Monsters and plagues, and giving birth to Hershers, godlike beings who can bend physical laws. In the Honkai-verse, humanity has already established a high-tech global civilization 50,000 years ago.
Jeez.
Modern humans refer to this civilization as the previous era. Unfortunately, those high-tech humans in the previous era lost the war and were defeated by the Honkai. The previous era was destroyed, but some humans survived to rebuild human civilization. This brings us to the current era. Of course, Honkai wants to destroy humanity, so they didn't leave us in peace, even in the current era. 2717 BC was the date of the
enemies look crazy.
The Honkai beast attacks. Fortunately, gifted human warriors such as Ji Xuanyan helped us defeat these early Honkai monsters. But Ji Xuanyan disappeared into the seas after an expedition to defeat the giant Honkai beast Chiyo. To defend humanity against the Honkai, a religious organization known as the Schicksal rose after the fall of the Roman Empire. Schicksal was led by an overseer, usually a member of the Apocalypse family, who established...
It's gonna be hard to try and do this reaction with a lot of, like, talking and stuff like that, but I feel like I'm gonna, at some point during this, I'm just going to completely just get sucked into the video and not speak for the entire time, because there's a lot to take in. I didn't expect this to be like a full-on... I thought it was just gonna be like an introduction, like, trailer or something, but...
Schicksal.
There's a lot to take in.
The feudal order by helping various European princes gain power. They also developed crude Honkai-powered weapons and initiated the Honkai Crusades. The feudal armies of Europe fought the Honkai, defeating them in many battles and reclaiming lost lands. To increase its power, Schicksal also recruited and trained its own military. The Valkyrie Order is the most famous Schicksal fighting force, and a legendary Valkyrie is Kallen of House Kaslana. The Kaslanas are a family of knights known for their prowess in fighting the Honkai. Kallen's most powerful weapon is the Oath of Judah, an artifact from the previous era that was very effective against the Honkai. However, many things happened in the year 1470. Honkai created an infectious virus that caused the Great Plague and killed millions throughout Europe. But Schicksal did
Jeez.
not focus on treating the plague. Instead, the leaders wanted to dominate the Eurasian continent and declared war against the Ming Empire of China. The war ended with Schicksal's defeat in 1475.
I'm saying, why can't more games do this? It's like there's so many games that like just they easily could put like I guess history into these games, even if it's inaccurate, it should like put it in there. Just stories do not have a background most of the time when you go for like games like gacha games. I don't know why they can't do this. Like I don't know why gacha games can't have like a good story and their gacha system. Because this would get a lot more people interested into them. Because a lot of the time they don't get as big as Genshin has or as big as Honkai Impact has. They don't usually show up too much. Like every now and then one will be like on the radar, but it's been a while since I've seen one of them get the recognition that Genshin has and maintain its spot in popularity on Twitch, YouTube, and stuff like that. But somehow this one, I don't know how this one isn't bigger. Like even though I personally would probably prefer the playstyle in Genshin, and this is probably because I'm someone that comes from Destiny, so I probably prefer more, I guess, building on characters than story, because Destiny is definitely not known for its story. But yeah, 100%, this is already way more story than any Genshin Destiny I've played, so 100% I'm down.
To pay for the losses, Schicksal increased taxes and took money from the poor. These bad decisions only made Schicksal even less popular. When Schicksal tried to recover from its defeat, the Great Plague continued to claim lives. Otto Apocalypse, a younger son of Schicksal's ruling dynasty of House Apocalypse, managed to develop a
That would
cure
suck
in
having the name
1475.
Apocalypse.
Although he was not the heir to the seat of Overseer, Otto's discovery increased his popularity.
That man was just
The deaths
screwed
of his
from
father
birth.
and brothers allowed him to become the new Overseer. Since then, human technology continued to grow. Everyone thought Honkai was gone, but the first Honkai eruption took place in 1952 and destroyed the entirety of Berlin.
Jeez.
The eruption gave birth to the first Herrscher, a powerful godlike being capable of bending physical laws. Schicksal,
Okay, so this was the one that people were talking about the first Herrscher in under the comments of the last one. So I hopefully
has
they go
become a
more
rather
into like
secretive
what
organization
exactly
by
those
now,
are.
quickly overpowered and captured the Herrscher for research. But Schicksal's scientists failed to find out anything. The first Herrscher was then transferred to a Schicksal lab in London for additional inquiry. It was there that the first Herrscher was given the name Welt by the resident scientists Einstein and Tesla. The scientists and leadership of the North American branch were already very displeased with Otto's militaristic leadership. Some even doubted Otto's willingness to eradicate the Honkai. These differences eventually led to the independence of the entire branch, which renamed themselves Anti-Entropy in 1955. Unlike Schicksal, which relied on Valkyries as its elite warriors, Anti-Entropy designed and built Honkai-powered mechs. The second Honkai eruption happened in 2000 and destroyed Siberia and the Russian Far East. It turned out that Schicksal were performing many inhumane experiments on Honkai-resistant children.
Of course.
One of them,
This is always what
awakened
happens.
and acquired Herrscher powers and proceeded to take revenge against those who tested on her and her friends. Schicksal mobilized hundreds of Valkyries and depleted its entire arsenal of Honkai fission missiles to defeat this foe. Many Valkyries fell in battle, including Cecilia Shariak, reputedly the best Valkyrie of Schicksal. 14 years later, in 2014, a minor Honkai eruption,
Jeez.
referred to as an outbreak, took place in Nagazora. The outbreak wiped out the entire city and transformed many into zombies. The cause was the partial awakening of Mei Raiden, the third Herrscher, due to an implantation of a Herrscher gem.
I'm definitely have to rewatch this multiple times on my own time because I'm not gonna remember all of this for sure. But 100% I'll be checking this out again for sure. And apparently people were saying that there's a manga series. But yeah, if that's somewhere online, I'll definitely check that out as well. It's been a while since I've checked up on any manga series. It's probably been years. I think the last one I checked up on is when Attack on Titan first came out the show, and I was interested in what was going on in the book, and I went ahead, and that kind of screwed it for me because I actually don't keep up with the show too much. I am on season 4, but I don't really keep up with it as much as I would have if I didn't already know what was going to happen. But yeah, whatever. That's pretty much the reason I stopped reading manga and just continue watching a lot of anime. But yeah, I'm down to check this
The
out.
Nagazora outbreak was contained by Schicksal Far East Branch, led by Teresa Apocalypse. The few survivors of the event, Kiana Kaslana, May Raiden, and Bronya Zajcek, were then enrolled in St. Freya High School, a Valkyrie training school built by Teresa Apocalypse after the Second Honkai War. Now we can finally move on to the events in the game itself. Honkai
Okay, so
Impact
this
3
was just
starts in the year
this was just the
2016.
prequel. Jesus.
You are the
All
captain
right.
of the flying battleship Hyperion of Schicksal Far East Branch. You will lead Kiana Kaslana, a brash and hot-headed Valkyrie trainee, and her other friends into battle. We hope this provides a basic understanding of the important events and forces of Honkai Universe. The rest of the history will continue in future episodes, following the life of Kiana, May, Bronya, and other Valkyries in the Honkai-verse.
Okay, that's that whole thing was a prequel. Oh my god. Hold on, they said where's it at? You're the captain of the flying battleship Hyperion of Schicksal Far East Branch. Okay, so you start out as like a. It's very different from how it starts in Genshin. I hate to compare it so much, but I'm just thinking about comparisons. But yeah, 100% in Genshin, you kind of start out as like a pretty weak person that's not even known by people. It might be nice starting out as a captain. But yeah, 100%. This, I'm guessing the manga series goes into the prequel as well. Otherwise, I'm guessing it wouldn't be here. But yeah, 100% I'll be checking that out afterwards. If it's online somewhere, I'll probably find it at some point. I'm sure I can find it somewhere online. If it's not, like in a physical book form. But 100%, this sounds pretty interesting. I'm ready for the next one. I'm pretty sure the next chapter. So the next chapter is Thunder Reborn. So my question for you guys would be, if I go on and just watch the next chapter, or should I just move on to whatever the final lesson that's the main one that people kept on recommending. Because I guess that's the next one from the last one that I reacted to. But this one is just like a, I guess, guide more than anything on what exactly is happening. So yeah, whatever one, I'll probably react to both of them at some point. But 100%, let me know in the comments if you would prefer if I continue these like chapter ones to figure out what's going on, or move on to the final lesson, which would be, I guess, would be more, I guess, more like the last one that I reacted to. But yeah, this whole story, I'm definitely have to watch this again to really like bring in everything. But pretty much what I'm picking up is, first of all, these enemies look crazy. I guess because I'm guessing these aren't the ones that you see in the game, since this is like the prequel thing. But I guess the enemies now would be just be the robot ones, which is fine. I hope these crazy beasts and zombies and stuff are in the game. That would be great, because that's one thing that I don't like about Genshin is a lot of the times, even when they do add new enemies, it's just a variation of the same enemies that they have. And this is the one thing that I can even relate to playing Destiny. They did that so much, where they would have an entire expansion based around an enemy that basically had the enemy that was in the game from the beginning of Destiny 1, and basically just put ice or put some kind of element over the enemy and said, here's the new enemy. And Genshin does that a lot too. That's one thing, like, bro, the enemies are not interesting whatsoever to me. Sometimes they can be, like, when you first start playing, but that's one thing they gotta work on, is when there's not a whole lot of different enemies for the amount of time that it's been out now. But yeah, 100% be checking out the manga. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.